So there seems to be this common theme and problem that I have with a lot of these MIDI sequencers, and that is there being no ability to nudge stuff or move it off grid. Riffer in particular is a random melody generator that actually works 90% of the time. Sounds good, except they don't have to say that. It's $7 on the iOS and the App Store, and you know what? This thing is actually incredibly powerful. I'm just salty that the only thing that we have to nudge stuff is this cute little shuffle button. Yeah, it doesn't do it for me. This is a very easy plugin to use. What you do is you hit this little button right here, and it makes stuff for you. You can set a key, you can set a scale. If this does not have the scale you want, then you can actually scroll all the way down here and create a new scale. Sorry, that coming out of that. So you can go save new scale and create whatever you want to, I think that you have to set it up in here with chromatic and then kind of navigate through there, but how cool is that? So within all of this, it's pretty straightforward. You can set these different loop points if you want to, which this is a little bit finicky, unfortunately. I'm trying to manipulate it here, but it'll work. Just give it time. There we go. So you can change this into looping. These little guys here are the duration of these. So if you want them to be really short and staccato, you could do that. If you want them to be the whole duration of the sequence, then you can do that too. And then you can also set repeats on here as well. So if I want these two to repeat quite a bit, if I hit play on this, which I got to come out of this to hit play, then you'll see that you can't even hear it. It's so fast, to be honest. Oh, there it goes. See, it sounds like a drill or something like that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty funny. So with this being said, hold on, let me get out of this real quick. The overall interface of this is actually pretty clean. You can set however many steps you want. I think this only goes up to 16, unfortunately. So if I were to set this to like 1, I think that this will only go for one particular melody, but if we drag this up, then the max is 16, so that's 16 steps that you can actually put into this thing, and then this is the tempo, or the rate or quantization of which you can map these two, which is kind of cool. You can sustain the notes, you can tie the notes together if you want to, if they're connected next to each other, to make them kind of hold and sustain. You can change the root note of how you want this to start, which is pretty cool. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. There's a few other little options that are kind of cool. So you can set this to play forward and backwards, and then both. You've got different snapshots of different ones that you can create, and there's a ton of modulation and mapping that you can do. If you want to save this, you can save this as a preset and export it as a MIDI file to later load up into your DAW. And really, like, this really is an end-all be-all in most cases of if you're struggling with the melody. I guarantee that this will be useful to you. Should you rely on it 100%? No, but it's also about how you take inspiration from this in the first place. So it would be very amateurish of me, which is nothing wrong with that in particular, but just as a means of like very baseline, rather, if I were to just hit play with this and then be like, it's perfect. But if I were to export this and go back and maybe only use this section from here on, these guys, just as a matter of visualization, and then maybe change the pitch of it, change the timing of it, move them across, then I can actually get more elaborate and start to make this original idea my own. So I'm essentially remixing these notes in a means that's going to fit the context of the tune that I'm trying to create, as opposed to trying to just create a tune around the riff. And that's the difference between, like, you'll get there, especially if you're a beginner. And if you're not a beginner, you'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So other than that, you do have this shuffle knob, which is what I already talked about. You can change the steps here, which is pretty cool, which goes into a lot of steps. I guess you can get into swinging that way if you want, and then change the loop point. That's actually way easier to use. I wish I would have known that. But yeah, so within this, you can probably expand this up to however many steps this will go. So if you wanted to create a super complex melody, I suppose you could. let's go back to this guy and be like, close your eyes, make something cool. I don't know what this is gonna do, but yeah. Now if we set this to like 1/64, let's see what this does. Move this, maybe. Okay, there we go. Nice. So it just gets silly, right? In some cases. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing things this way, but at the same time, you might end up with something kind of cool. So ridiculous. Now, with that being said, the way that you would set this up is that if you're actually just using this in standalone mode, then you can actually hit this little icon up here. It'll actually look like a speaker, and you can set that to just play sine waves, which is actually how I prefer to do it most of the time. But in the case of something like Drambo, if you were to move this, maybe per se, I'm trying to open this up so I can get out of it. There we go. Close out of that. Then all you have to do is just put it before your VST, or before your AU, or your instrument rather. So just like Bitwig, right? It pretty much has MIDI pass, so you don't have to do any crazy routing. Some stuff supports multi-routing, but it's super easy to just be like, all right, let's just put it there. And then for whatever reason, if you need to, like let's say you have something that you want to do multiple routing, you can actually stack these and put it right before another instrument if there's another instrument before. And just like, yeah, the routing on this is crazy. It's very intuitive and very simple to use. So in any case, I think that for $7, a tool like this is extremely fun, especially if you've got an Apple Pencil. I also have Riffer on my phone. It's compatible and it works extremely well. But is it like the end all be all melody finder? I wouldn't say so, but that doesn't mean that you can't get some cool stuff out of it for $7. If the devs see this, dude, please give us the option to nudge. Please give us the option to nudge. I don't know how it would work with what you got going on with this interface, but it seems almost criminal that this is not a thing. You know, I don't know, let us highlight these notes like this, and then let us just have some kind of slider that pops up over on the left or something, but I really want the ability to nudge these notes in a means that creates a more natural rhythm, and because that's how I build my beats. So anywho, I hope that you all learned something and enjoyed this plugin. Let me know if there's something else that you all want to see after this, and be sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate if you supported the channel, blah blah blah, advertisements. ARCANUM 6 is dope. Just saying, check it out. I'll see you on the next one.